Hi, my name is Maddie, and today I'm going to tell you about the best road trip of my life. I'm sure most of you guys have been on a vacation where the days just fly by, and even though there's ups and downs, you just never ever want the trip to end, and as soon as it's over, you just wish that you could experience it again. And that was how I felt during the 7 days of leave that my boyfriend got after 2 months of boot camp. Last May, my boyfriend enlisted in the US Coast Guard, and his boot camp date was set for July through the end of September. So we were pretty nervous, and as soon as that came, it was awful. And then the end of September, he ended up graduating, and he was granted 7 days of leave to go home and see his family, and then drive up to Fort Bragg, California, which is about 3 hours north of San Francisco. So we actually took that time to take a chunk of 4 days and drive from Tucson, Arizona to Fort Bragg, California, and make it a road trip out of it for ourselves. So we stopped 3 times, once in San Diego, once in Carmel by the Sea, and then at his hometown. So the first time we drove to San Diego and we stayed the night, I was actually born there, so it was nice to go back and see the city, and we spent the night there, had some dinner, and then the next morning we got up and we drove to LA. And my cousin actually goes to college in LA, so I thought it would be fun to stop and see her. So we stopped and we saw her and her boyfriend, and we were talking and chatting and getting along, and we ended up actually losing track of time. And we were there for so long. We were supposed to leave at 5 p.m. and we ended up leaving at 10 p.m. And my boyfriend actually ended up getting his first tattoo while we were there seeing my cousin. My cousin is a tattoo artist, and so when we got there, we were all talking, and he just ended up getting his first tattoo, which was pretty cool. So we ended up losing track of time, and 10 p.m. rolls around, and we had a reservation for a hotel in a town that was 4.5 hours away. So we were like, we gotta go, we gotta get out of here. Like, it's gonna be 2 a.m. before we get to our hotel. And, we have a long drive ahead of us, so we're feeling like zombies. We ended up packing up the car at 10 p.m. again and making the 4.5 hour drive to Carmel by the Sea, which is kind of by Big Sur, if you know where that is. So we ended up getting into Carmel by the Sea at 2 a.m. We had to hunt down our cottage that we'd rented. We were dead from the trip, and we finally got in and we passed out. We woke up at like 10 a.m. the next day, and I had a whole day planned in Carmel by the Sea for us because the city itself is it's really small and it's pretty quaint and cute. So we went fairy house hunting, we went to a secret garden, we had brunch, and we hiked the beach, and it was just an amazing day. We spent the whole day in Carmel by the Sea exploring the city and seeing all the cute little shops, and it was just awesome. We walked up and down the beach, we saw all the sights there was to see, and then it was time to make the drive to Fort Bragg, which was going to be his home for the next 4 years. So our emotions were kind of running pretty wild. It was pretty exciting. So we made the drive. We ended up leaving at like 4 or 5 p.m. And we were driving up to Fort Bragg, and we noticed that we were going to get in pretty late, like 11 p.m. to midnight. So we called his new roommates and we said, "Oh, like, hey, we're going to be pretty late." And it was a Friday night. So they had replied and told us, like, "Oh, we're all going to be going out to the bar. Like, don't worry about it. We'll leave the door unlocked, but we'll probably get home after you guys." So we were excited. And we finally, when we got into Fort Bragg, we pulled up to the house, and the door was in fact unlocked, but as we walked in, it was pretty funny. All of his roommates were passed out on the couch. All the lights in the house were on. They were playing some Disney movie. They were all passed out on the couch, and I go over and I notice that there's a frozen pizza on the counter, and they had left the oven on. There was a pizza out that hadn't been made. Like, it was just funny. And so we ended up moving all of his stuff in, and we went to sleep and woke up, and that was the road trip. I mean, there's so much more I could say about it if I had the time, but it was amazing. It was definitely one of the most memorable road trips of my life, and while it had its ups and downs like any other vacation, I would do it again in a heartbeat, and nothing was able to beat the feeling of spending that quality time with my boyfriend after being separated by boot camp and through letters and not being able to see each other or communicate. It really just made the trip amazing. So, thank you for listening.